Did you know that some white communities in Africa have roots going back over 400 years? These communities, with deep historical ties to the continent, have shaped the cultural, social, and economic landscapes of African nations in ways that are often overlooked. Welcome to today's video, where we're counting down the top 10 African countries with the largest long-standing white communities, those that have been in these countries for at least 4 generations. We're not talking about those who have moved to Africa in modern times, but rather about communities that have deep historical roots in the continent. These communities have fascinating histories, and their contributions to their respective countries are both significant and intriguing. So, let's start our journey across the continent. Number 10. Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, is home to a small but enduring community of white residents, primarily of British and Afrikaner descent. These families first settled in the region during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, drawn by opportunities in agriculture and trade. Over the generations, they have become deeply integrated into the fabric of Eswatini society, contributing to the development of the sugar and forestry industries, which remain vital to the country's economy today. Although their numbers have dwindled due to emigration and other factors, the community continues to play a significant role in local business and cultural life, maintaining traditions while adapting to the changing social landscape of the country. Number 9. Botswana. Next on our list is Botswana, a country renowned for its peaceful transition to independence and steady economic growth. Botswana's white community is primarily descended from British and Afrikaner settlers who arrived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. These settlers were instrumental in the development of Botswana's cattle ranching industry, which remains a cornerstone of the country's economy. Over the generations, this community has integrated into Botswana's social and political fabric, with some families becoming prominent landowners and business leaders. Despite their small numbers, the contributions of this community to Botswana's agricultural sector and their efforts in wildlife conservation have been significant, helping to preserve the country's rich natural heritage. Number 8. Tanzania. Coming in at number 8 is Tanzania, a country with a diverse colonial history that includes both German and British rule. Tanzania's white population has roots that date back to the late 19th century, when German settlers established plantations and missions in the region. After World War I, British settlers continued to develop the agricultural potential of Tanzania, particularly in the highlands. Today, the descendants of these settlers are involved in various sectors, including agriculture, tourism, and conservation. They play a key role in managing some of Tanzania's most famous wildlife reserves and national parks, contributing to the country's status as a top tourist destination. Despite facing challenges, including land reforms and changing political climates, Tanzania's white communities have remained resilient, preserving their heritage while contributing to the nation's development. Number 7. Zambia. At number 7, we have Zambia, formerly known as Northern Rhodesia during the colonial period. Zambia's white population, primarily of British descent, has been in the country for generations, with many families arriving in the early 20th century to work in mining, agriculture, and infrastructure development. The copper mining industry, in particular, attracted a significant number of white settlers, who helped build the foundations of what would become one of Zambia's most important economic sectors. Over the decades, this community has seen significant changes, especially following Zambia's independence in 1964. Despite the political and economic challenges that have led some to emigrate, many white Zambians have remained, continuing to contribute to the country's agriculture and business sectors, as well as its cultural landscape. Number 6. Kenya. At number 6 is Kenya, a country with one of the most well-known white communities in Africa. The British settlers who arrived in Kenya in the early 20th century were drawn to the fertile lands of the White Highlands, where they established large farms and estates. This region became synonymous with British colonialism in Kenya, and the legacy of these settlers is still evident today. The descendants of these early settlers remain active in Kenya's agricultural sector, particularly in tea, coffee, and flower farming, which are key exports for the country. Additionally, many have diversified into tourism, conservation, and other industries, playing a significant role in shaping Kenya's modern identity. Despite the challenges of post-independence land reforms and shifting political landscapes, the white community in Kenya continues to thrive, contributing to the nation's economy and maintaining a distinct cultural presence. Number 5. Angola. Moving on to number 5, we arrive in Angola, a country with a complex colonial history. Angola's white population is primarily of Portuguese descent, with families that have been in the country for generations, dating back to the 16th century when Portuguese explorers first arrived. During the colonial period, particularly in the 20th century, these communities expanded significantly, establishing themselves in agriculture, commerce, and industry. Although Angola's independence in 1975 and the subsequent civil war led to the departure of many Portuguese, those who remained have continued to contribute to Angola's rebuilding and development. Today, the descendants of these settlers are involved in a variety of sectors, including agriculture, construction, and trade, playing a crucial role in Angola's economic recovery and growth. Number 4. Mozambique. Next, at number 4 is Mozambique, another country with deep Portuguese roots. Like Angola, Mozambique's white community has a history that stretches back centuries, with significant growth during the colonial era. The Portuguese settlers who made Mozambique their home contributed to the development of agriculture, infrastructure, and urban centers. Despite the challenges of independence and a prolonged civil war, many Portuguese-descended families chose to stay and rebuild their lives in Mozambique. Today, they remain influential in sectors such as agriculture, hospitality, and business, helping to drive Mozambique's economic development. The cultural influence of this community is also evident in the country's cuisine, architecture, and language, making Mozambique a unique blend of African and European traditions. Number 3. Zimbabwe. At number 3 is Zimbabwe, a country with a white population that has experienced significant challenges over the years. The colonization of Zimbabwe, then known as Rhodesia, began in the late 19th century during the 1880s and 1890s, when the British South Africa Company, under the leadership of Cecil Rhodes, initiated the settlement of Europeans in the region. This was backed by a royal charter from Queen Victoria, which allowed the company to govern the territory. In 1890, the Pioneer Column, a group of European settlers, marched into Mashonaland and founded Fort Salisbury, which later became the capital city, Harare. These early settlers established farms, businesses, and infrastructure, playing a central role in the country's economic development. The white community in Rhodesia grew significantly, becoming deeply entrenched in agriculture, particularly in large-scale commercial farming. However, Zimbabwe's history took a dramatic turn after independence in 1980 and during the land reform programs of the early 2000s, which led to significant upheaval for white farmers and landowners. Despite these challenges, many white Zimbabweans have remained in the country, contributing to various sectors, including tourism, industry, and conservation. Their continued presence reflects both the resilience of this community and the complex history of Zimbabwe's journey from colonization to independence. Number 2, Namibia. Coming in at number 2 is Namibia, home to one of the most distinctive white communities in Africa. Namibia's white population is primarily of German and Afrikaner descent, with roots tracing back to the late 19th century when Germany colonized the region. The German-speaking community in Namibia has preserved much of its cultural heritage, with German being widely spoken and cultural traditions, such as Oktoberfest, being celebrated. This community has played a significant role in Namibia's development, particularly in agriculture, mining, and tourism. The Afrikaner community, which arrived later, has also contributed significantly, particularly in farming. Despite Namibia's turbulent history, including the struggle for independence, these communities have remained resilient, and their influence is evident in Namibia's culture, economy, and even architecture. Namibia today stands as a unique blend of African and European cultures, making it one of the most intriguing places on the continent. Number 1. South Africa. Finally, at number 1, we arrive in South Africa, the country with the largest and most established white population in Africa. South Africa's white community is incredibly diverse, including Afrikaners, English-speaking South Africans, and descendants of other European settlers. The Afrikaner population, with roots dating back to the 17th century, has played a central role in shaping South Africa's history, particularly during the colonial and apartheid eras. English-speaking South Africans, many of whom arrived during the British colonial period, have also left a significant mark on the country's development. Today, South Africa's white community is integral to the nation's economy, politics, and culture. They are involved in a wide range of industries, including agriculture, finance, and technology, and continue to contribute to the country's rich cultural tapestry. Despite the challenges posed by South Africa's complex and often painful history, the white community remains a vital part of the nation's identity, with deep roots that stretch back over centuries. One of the most surprising stories comes from Namibia, where the German-speaking community has not only preserved their language and traditions, but also established a vibrant cultural scene that blends European and African influences. This community has become a vital part of Namibia's identity, contributing to its tourism industry and playing a significant role in its independence movement. Despite their small numbers, they have left an indelible mark on the country's cultural landscape, making Namibia one of the most intriguing places where European and African histories intersect. As we've seen, the history of white communities in Africa is rich and multifaceted. These communities have navigated numerous challenges, contributing to the continent in unique ways, while preserving their cultural identities. Their stories are a testament to the diverse and interconnected histories that shape Africa today. If you found this exploration interesting, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever visited any of these communities? What surprised you the most? And if you're curious about more fascinating stories from Africa, including its diverse cultures and histories, be sure to check out our other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.